It's Spoilerin time, and this week we will continue to talk about Deadwood, the season finale of Season 1, Episode 12. Also talk about Counterpart, Episode 8 of Season 1. I'm Tom Merritt, and of course with me in my studio here in Austin, Texas, is Brian Brushwood.
Hey, man, you know what? We're going to rename it the Tom Merritt Memorial Studio.
I'm not dead!
And in parentheses it says memorial is used ironically until Tom dies.
Then we will drop this parenthesis.
That's right.
No, thank you for having me in your studio, man.
Oh
This
my
has been so much
gosh.
fun.
This is the first time we've done the show with both of us facing each other with a studio being switched live in the same place.
Yeah.
We should do this more of it. You want to just have the spare bedroom? You can just live here?
Yeah, I mean, Eileen won't mind, right?
Yeah.
Living here
sure it'll be
and
fine.
quitting her job and living in your spare bedroom.
Speaking of Eileen, it may take her away from her duties as commissioner of the
Yes.
the movie draft.
So Eileen Rivera, my wife, is the commissioner of the movie draft, but there's no conflict of interest. And she is here in Austin as well for South by Southwest Film Festival, which has taken her away from her commissionerial duties, but I guess we've got a tentative date.
We have a tentative date of March 20th. That's next Tuesday. For the live movie draft. I think we actually announced this date last week as well.
Have we announced the slate?
Not yet. That's the thing that we're waiting on.
Okay.
We want a final slate so that when we send out invites for people, they can hit their ground running.
She had to see what kind of graft she could get at the film festival.
Well, I'll tell you what, man.
She's collecting her bribes, her kickbacks.
After that winter movie draft, it's like anything's possible. It's always a roller coaster ride. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
The one movie that she saw, and I would be very surprised if she doesn't put it in the movie draft, is Sorry to Bother You. Which
I saw the trailer for that on Twitter. That looks amazing.
It looks amazing. And she said, I don't know what I just watched in the best possible way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, she was still thinking about it the next day.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Counterpart 108, Episode 8, Season 1, where we have a full-on J.K. Simmons fight.
It's great. That scene, that's the star of the show. J.K. Simmons facing off against himself, each side calling out the other for their very tangible weaknesses. And the best part is, the best part is knowing that they used to be the exact same person.
Right.
And so whatever's in one of them is definitely in the other one, and they both know it, you know? And for them to, I don't know, that was riveting.
I feel like Howard Prime is so angry at our Howard because he knows that. He's like, why didn't you become me? Why aren't you as strong as me? But he's also jealous of the fact that not only are you weak and you have all of these things I hate about myself that I fixed, but you still have a better life than me.
Well, and the fact that, and you're right, because it's like he's angry, like he feels like he doesn't deserve it. It's like, and the answer, of course, is like he did the hard thing. Our Howard has let go and forgiven people and done the harder thing to be a better person, and as a result, has a better life.
Yeah, and Howard, arguably more successful, cast aside all of that. I don't have time to work on my marriage. I don't have time to love my daughter.
When secretly what he's doing is like, you're not doing the hard work of letting these issues go. Instead, you're just bottling all this up, and that's why you're filled with rage and you can't hold on to a relationship.
That is a fantastic scene too, because you still see these two different Howards, but they're being played by the same person, and yet they're also growing a little. I mean, Howard, our Howard for sure is growing.
Oh, yeah.
He's still a little tentative, but he's starting to fight back. And
I mean, he goes into a straight up firefight. And as Howard Prime says, he's like, look at you, a spy hunter, a killer. Look at you, you're holding your own.
And Howard Prime is starting to get doubts.
Yeah.
He's not 100% confident and arrogant as we saw at the beginning of this series.
So we also had our Howard's Emily wake up, and I think it's an interesting storytelling development in that they didn't make it clear. I was waiting for her to just wake up and then suddenly be a player, but instead they're easing us into the idea where it's like, well, we don't know how much of her is in there, and what's going on. And
well, there's such a great, like, she's awake, but is she? Like, she opened her eyes. That doesn't tell us much yet.
Yeah. Well, and that also tracks with the trope of coming out of a coma. They always act like they just wake up. You know, truthfully, it's like they're groggy. They're never really there. It takes weeks and weeks.
A long time.
Yeah,
and Howard Prime got caught in a lie, right? Because our Howard's like, oh, thanks for telling me your wife was dead. She's not.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to know her.
And then he
Howard Prime
immediately lies again. And I was like you and Bonnie were in the room, and I involuntarily busted out and that MFer, you know. I was so mad at him.
Yeah. Because I heard you say, oh, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then we have that whole series where he tells him about the affair, and that's when our Howard's like, yeah, no, I know that.
Yes.
And then, of course, Howard Prime is just
and of course, Howard Prime is all the more befuddled. Like, what kind of person would know this about his wife and yet still choose to stay with her? And it's like it's almost as though he's just as flummoxed as well as enraged.
I kind of feel like where we're going is that Howard Prime is going to be better at Howard's life than Howard, and our Howard is going to be better at Howard Prime's life. And at the end, they're going to have to face like, well, do we want to switch back? I mean, right now, Howard Prime definitely wants to switch back eventually.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to let us plant our feet and feel like we understand the world and things are trending towards happiness, and then they're going to take all of that away from us.
Yeah.
That vignette with the school and them figuring out that, oh, they're training children to go swap the place. Number one, I think that was a good little horror story in a bottle. You know, Howard's reaction, seeing all the kids who had committed suicide or had it performed for them. You know, technically, I think there's a word for that.
No longer suicide. That's what's the word?
Murder. That's what it is. Yeah. I enjoyed that vignette, and also here's the weird part between the Alpha world and the Prime world. That's the right play, I think, and it has kind of chilling implications with the current political climate. I mean, essentially, they're pulling a Russia. It's like, we can't take them on face to face because we got hit by this flu and we don't have the resources, and they're ahead in technology and this other stuff. And they're like, but what we can do is we can corrupt their world from the inside.
Yeah. And just take it over.
Yeah, and I'll be like, that's a pretty good strategy. If you have a limited gate, you can't use any traditional warfare, then you got to have your ideas take over from the other side.
Now that brings us to one of their major plants, Claire, with Quail, and and
I really like the stalemate and him grappling with it, and as she calls him out, they're like, you can't do anything, we are in this together, what do you think will happen to this baby? And it's like
because she's actually had to struggle in her life, whereas he's had everything pretty much given to him,
which was why he was a perfect candidate for this.
Yeah
and I think we're going to see him turn into a man as a result of this at some point, although we're not quite there, because he definitely names Howard Silk as a patsy now,
and I fell for that. I don't know about you, but I fell for that. I'm like, he's gonna say it's his wife, and finally like come forward and like, I need help. Help me out of this.
That would be the courageous thing to do.
And then
so of course he's not going to do that.
Like, and as soon as he said Howard Silk, I'm like, I should have known.
Now help me remember this. When he said Howard Silk, does he know that the two Howards have swapped places? Does he know that it's not his local Howard?
No, he was part of that plan.
That's okay. Right. That's right. Yeah. So maybe that makes it, oh, you know what? I'll bet in his mind, he's like, well, they're knocking off Howard, but it's the asshole Howard. Yeah, exactly. I think that's why he's justifying that.
Well, but the guy he's telling it to, he knows that there's a swap happened too. Like, he's in on it. So
yeah,
I don't.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Man, this is going to be one of those, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch from the beginning because I'm certain I will see the whole world very differently on a second watch through. One other thing. Oh, Pope getting more credible as a bad guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he makes a phone call and says, oh, this isn't the dry cleaners, and then everybody just sets fire to everything and murders children.
Yeah, he obviously carries some weight.
A little more, and it makes me want to go back to those scenes with Pope, because I think it's all the more astonishing that they would speak to him so cavalierly and as if they weren't afraid. Now that I'm witnessing the level of power he has, it makes me want to re-experience that.
Although, I in one way, I see what I'm about to mention as just it's an easy way to carry a plot. But I'm also very curious why Catherine Zeta-Jones' German sister bugs out. And is like, and when the guy catches her, she's like, all right, you're coming with me, or not. But
yeah,
we have work to do. I'm not just fleeing the scene, I promise. Like, I'm wondering if that's true or if she was just bailing.
That's interesting. Also, I'm so curious why we are still following our assassin. I mean,
Zipper Lip?
yeah, Zipper Lip.
Baldwin.
What's it?
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Thank you.
Zipper Lip Baldwin. Second baseman for the 1908
fifth
Cubs.
Baldwin brother. Zipper Lip. Not that her story is not engaging and heartbreaking and strange, but I'm waiting for. I guess she's going through a journey where she'll be seduced into wanting to take care of our world and say, look, just because my world's so garbage doesn't mean I have to.
I mean, she really
continue
is
the
on
process.
simmer, right? Like,
Yeah.
she has no friends. She has no more purpose other than like finishing her job. But then if she really thinks it through, finishing her job just does the thing for the people who tried to kill her. So why would she do that?
When she got cast, how many times do you think they said again and again, no. We're going to be showing your boobs a lot on this show. A lot. You're okay. Because it's just every episode we can. We're going to do that.
It might have been in a writer.
Maybe she's the one that insisted. Her boobs have her own writer.
Possibly. I haven't seen Stranger Things. That's pretty strange.
Still very much enjoying it. I love all the. Oh, we also caught a glimpse of the world building in a way that we've not seen before. I'll bet that there's some interesting details if you look at the lessons being taught to the kids. They did hold up a picture where it's 9/11. They're learning about their world, so it's very clear 9/11 happened one place and not another.
Yeah.
Which only and again they flatly say it's our side and the other side, but. That I think would be fun to explore and learn more about.
All right. Anything else on Counterpart?
Do you think there are multiple schools? Do you think this was the only school?
That's a really good
no.
point.
I think there's a whole.
Yeah, there's got to be a
bunch.
bunch of cells, right?
Right, because when Pope in a few episodes back was making the same call, he had 5 different phones and was making a very similar. Oh, is this the laundromat? No,
Yes,
there's never
yes.
been. So there may still be other children to be killed.
Yeah. Oh God.
Jeez.
Or accidentally really needing to call the dry cleaners and using the wrong phone. A horrible fallout. All right, let's move to Deadwood 112. Really interestingly shot. This episode has a large period, especially at the beginning, where you have to look at it. Mm-hmm. There's not dialogue carrying you through.
And which is interesting because it is a very dialogue. The dialogue tends to be the star of the show.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a lot of long looks and walks but things are happening. And one of those things is that Seth Bullock gets called over to Alma's to beat the crap out of her dad.
Yeah, that was a little satisfying.
I thought we would be tortured by him longer.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm pretty sure he's coming back.
Well, but also, like, think about this. When we get to the place where they, between the lines, it's cleverly written, but basically it's like, hey, I'm going to stay married. I'm going to fill all my obligations. Also, I'm very interested in you. Would you like to have sex? It's a tough thing to successfully thread that stone needle and get the viewers along and feel like this is right. And we're okay with our hero, who we believe is the best good guy in all of Deadwood. And we're like, yeah, no, also you deserve to have a loving relationship.
You obviously didn't love your brother's wife.
Right.
Because she's your brother's wife.
Right.
So, and Alma is single. So
Exactly. Yeah, you are two damaged people who deserve to be happy. And so we're excited for you.
And it is a very Deadwood way of making someone have a happy ending, which is to not give them a morally pure happy
and also we know that gives anybody who knows about the relationship, gives them leverage over them, and I'm sure there's trouble brewing all over. I believe this is the first Deadwood episode that I've not seen before, because every time I'd be like, I think I was, and then I'd get to a part like, oh no, I do remember that happening. This one, the whole time, I think I had gotten all the way to the end of the season and then found out it was canceled, and then just dropped it in disgust. So we're now in virgin territory for all this stuff.
I hold that thought, because I have an observation about this episode that I'm curious if it strikes you the same way. But I want to talk about a couple of the other endings, so to speak, or tie up of stories. Al Swearingen has the bagman of the magistrate returns, and the magistrate is there, and the magistrate wants more money, and Al's like, great, you don't get any more money, slice your throat.
Yeah. And the more interesting killing was when he just shrugs and he's like, well, nobody's going to do it. I guess I've got to smother this reverend.
Intercut with the doctor doing what the doctor feels is right, which is, I don't pray, but it's so bad. And as a doctor, I can do no harm. Please, God, take his life. And I was like, I'm God in this town.
Well, and
I'll do it.
I think in a weird way, he's not wrong. He's doing the dirty work. He's doing the dirty jobs. He's like, yeah, look,
That's what Al Swearingen does.
Everybody knows this needs to be done. I'm going to be the guy to do it, and that's why I'm
and
the
he
center
turns
of
it
this
into a
town.
lesson for his road
Protege,
agents.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
We
that
also
was
get
heavy-duty.
a moment that I think defines the depth of Deadwood, which is the doctor making the brace and then dancing.
So sweet. I got the warm feelies from that.
The best part is it's not warm feelies in the service of any other story.
Correct.
He does it just for her.
Yeah.
And sort of on the sly because he doesn't want anyone involved.
Doc continues to be the one genuinely good person. I guess, I don't know. Seth is good.
Well, after this episode, though, Doc's ahead by a nose because he has not committed adultery that we know.
That's true. That's
Although
true.
we actually get a little bit of a flash to the Doc's past story when he's hallucinating the war. I felt like when he's talking about like the screams and the people calling for their mother, and I'm like, okay, that's why a good man like him fled because he couldn't deal with the awfulness that he saw.
Yeah. Also, that actor who plays, with the brace and the leg and stuff, she's fantastic. She just has an electricity and an unending optimism and enthusiasm. You feel her joy despite being handed mountains of crap that life gave her. You know.
Yeah. It is I mean, we actually don't get much out of Cy Tolliver.
I was just going to ask. I was like, did I just forget that he just didn't have much of a story? He was window dressing.
His agency in this is the long look at the sheriff about like, all right, go get everybody mad at the Chinese people, please.
Yeah.
And then that happens and backfires because it ends up causing Seth to take the guy's badge, which then later, through a series of unfortunate
by the way,
events,
that's how you know that's a real man who what is the quote? Power isn't granted, it's assumed. Like, he just walked up. He's like, no, and then
you don't get to have that.
Yeah.
And then there's no one else to take it. So eventually
It's like-
Al gives it. Al, who doesn't have the authority to really give that, but he's like, guess what? I do because I'm Al.
Right.
You're now sheriff. And
Yeah.
no one will naysay it because I'll back you.
We didn't get anything really interesting out of EB at all, outside of him just sort of
Just being a psychopath.
just ratting around, being
Standing up on the barrel. So
trying to make a show.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the actual person upon which he's based was actually a really good, hardworking guy, honorable guy.
Wouldn't that be the way?
And he's like, well, sorry, it just doesn't fit in the story.
I was
kiddo.
the mayor. I ran a hotel. I was very industrious.
He's up in
I
heaven
kept
like
Al at a arm's length. Yeah.
wanting to call HBO.
What is wrong with you people? I was trying to find the name of our actress, and I cannot find her listed in IMDb.
Well, she's delightful.
Yeah, she deserves that. I may just be missing it, but yeah. So my theory on this episode is it feels like a series ender.
It feels like they did not know if there would be a second season.
Because if you had gone ahead and watched this and made this one your last,
right,
you could feel pretty satisfied.
That's the bitter irony is that I gave up just before I had a closure.
And what you shouldn't do is keep watching like we're gonna do. Because I mean, Alma's father's been run out of town. Sure, he's probably going to come back, but for now, he's fine. Seth's wife is on the way, but for now, he's happy. Like everybody's got in Deadwood, nothing's permanent anyway.
Sure.
So the best you're ever going to get in any finale would be a for now, and everybody's got a for now.
And I felt good about the for now. It reminded me a little bit of that. Remember the ending of the second season of The Leftovers, where it's like for just one moment, it's like we're all here and we're all together and we're doing all right, and then of course they subvert that instantly. But
Jewel, is that her name?
Yes,
Jerry Jewel.
Yes,
is the actress's name.
Wait, they used a real name?
Well.
Or they call her Jewel.
They call her Jewel in the story, and her last name is Jewel with 2 L's.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So there you go. Good job. I found good job, Jerry Jewell from Buffalo, New York. Writer known for the facts of life.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Anyway, big thumbs up. Excited to go into season 2. Still continues to be very difficult to go week by week. This is torture. I want you to know I'm going through literal torture for your amusement.
And that's why you should support us on Patreon.
Support torture. Patreon.
Tell your friends. Don't tell your friends that. But tell your friends they should support us too if they not only want to get episodes of Spoiler in Time, but keep Cordkillers going and get all of the information you need from turning on the device to watching the device to talking about what you watched.
Exactly. Hopefully some big money movies coming up, and we'll have more to talk about in Spoiler in Time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
keep your recommendations on other shows that we should check out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to what follows Deadwood eventually. What will it be? Who knows? Find out next week. Well, next week it'll just be Deadwood.
I hear them already. They're outside. They have pitchforks. They're chanting Babylon 5. We're going to have a talk.
It would be a departure, but it's also like a 4-year process.
It's a 5-year project, yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.